My name is Emily Carter. For most of my life, people believed my younger brother Daniel was Dad's favorite. He was charming, confident, always the center of attention. I was different. Quiet, hardworking, happy to stay in the background. Dad never compared us. Instead, he always said, "Life doesn't reward the loudest person. It rewards the most honest one." At the time, I didn't fully understand what he meant. Years later, those words would change my life. Dad built a successful construction company from nothing. He worked 6 days a week for over 30 years. Every brick, every contract, every paycheck was earned honestly. He wanted Daniel and me to inherit more than money. He wanted us to inherit his values. But Daniel only cared about one thing: the money. As soon as he joined the company, everything changed. He bought expensive suits, leased a luxury sports car, started acting like he already owned the business. Whenever Dad questioned his spending, Daniel would smile. "This company will be mine soon anyway." Dad never argued. He simply replied, "Businesses don't belong to greedy people. They belong to responsible people." Daniel laughed. "We'll see. I worked as a public school teacher. My salary wasn't impressive, but I loved my job." Dad often told people, "I'm proud of both my children, but Emily understands something money can't buy." Daniel hated hearing that. Whenever Dad praised me, Daniel became colder, more distant, more determined to prove he deserved everything. Then, 6 months before Dad died, I accidentally overheard an argument. Daniel shouted, "When are you finally changing the will?" Dad answered calmly, "I already have." Daniel smiled. "I knew you'd make the right choice." Dad looked at him silently. For a brief moment, I thought I saw disappointment in Dad's eyes. I didn't know why. Not yet. The night Dad passed away, my world collapsed. At his funeral, hundreds of people came to say goodbye. Employees cried. Neighbors hugged each other. Even strangers spoke about Dad's kindness. Daniel barely spoke to anyone. Instead, he spent most of the day making phone calls, whispering to lawyers, checking documents. It felt less like he had lost his father, and more like he was preparing for something. 3 days later, I found out exactly what. Daniel called the family together. "The will is being read tomorrow." His voice sounded strangely cheerful, almost excited. As I hung up the phone, I looked at Dad's old photograph on my shelf. Something deep inside me whispered, "This isn't over." The next morning, the courtroom was filled. Family members, employees, friends. Everyone wanted to know one thing: who would inherit Robert Carter's fortune? Daniel walked in wearing a brand new designer suit. He smiled at everyone, as if the decision had already been made. When he saw me, he leaned close and whispered, "I hope you've already packed your things." I frowned. "What do you mean?" He smiled. "The house belongs to me now. You'll be moving out soon." I stared at him. "Dad would never do that." Daniel laughed. "You really never understood him." A few moments later, Mr. Harrison, Dad's attorney, entered the courtroom carrying a thick leather folder. Behind him, the judge took his seat. Everyone stood. Then, the hearing began. Mr. Harrison adjusted his glasses. "Today we are here to read the last will and testament of Robert Carter." The room became completely silent. He opened the document. "The family residence," Daniel smiled. "It shall remain in the Carter Family Trust." Daniel's smile faded slightly. Mr. Harrison continued. "The investment accounts will also remain under the trust until all legal conditions have been fulfilled." Daniel frowned. "This isn't the version I saw." The attorney ignored him. He kept reading. Then came the sentence that changed everything. "The operating control of Carter Construction will temporarily pass to Daniel Carter." Daniel jumped to his feet. "I knew it." He laughed loudly. "I told everyone. Dad chose me." He turned toward me with a victorious grin. "It's over, Emily. You lost." Some relatives lowered their heads. Others looked at me with sympathy. For a moment, even I wondered if Daniel had been right all along. Then, Mr. Harrison quietly closed the folder. There is one final instruction. Daniel waved his hand. Skip it. It won't change the will. Mr. Harrison calmly replied. Robert Carter specifically instructed the court that this letter must be read only after Daniel believes he has won. The courtroom fell silent. Daniel slowly sat back down. The attorney reached into his briefcase. He removed an old sealed envelope. Across the front, in Dad's unmistakable handwriting, were the words, Daniel, if you're smiling, you've already made your biggest mistake. A chill swept through the courtroom. Even the judge leaned forward. Mr. Harrison slowly broke the seal. He unfolded the letter. His expression suddenly changed. He looked directly at Daniel, then quietly said, Robert wanted these to be the first words you ever heard after celebrating. He took a deep breath and began to read. My son, if you think this will make you the winner, then you never understood why I wrote it. The courtroom was so quiet. You could hear people breathing. Mr. Harrison unfolded Dad's handwritten letter. His voice was calm, but every word felt heavy. He began reading. Daniel, if you're smiling right now, you've already proven exactly why I couldn't trust you. Daniel's confident smile disappeared. His face turned pale. Mr. Harrison continued. A real inheritance isn't measured by dollars. It's measured by character. For years, I watched you chase money instead of integrity. Daniel shook his head. No, that's not true. But no one interrupted the reading. The letter continued. 6 months ago, someone entered my office after business hours. That person searched through my personal files, looking for my will. The courtroom gasped. Mr. Harrison reached into another envelope. He removed several security photographs. The judge examined them carefully. Where did these come from? Mr. Harrison answered. Mr. Carter installed hidden security cameras after someone tried accessing confidential documents. The first photo appeared on the courtroom screen. A man wearing a hoodie, opening Dad's office door. The second photo showed the man's face. It was Daniel. Daniel jumped to his feet. Those pictures don't prove anything. I worked there. The judge calmly replied, Sit down, Mr. Carter. Daniel slowly sat. His hands were shaking. Mr. Harrison continued reading. Daniel, I never told anyone about those cameras because I hoped you would come to me and tell the truth. You never did. My brother lowered his head. He couldn't even look toward me. Then Mr. Harrison removed one final document. This is a forensic handwriting report. The signature on the document Daniel presented is not Robert Carter's signature. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Daniel whispered, I didn't forge it. He stopped speaking. The silence said everything. Mr. Harrison looked at the judge. Your Honor, Robert Carter anticipated this possibility. He instructed me to keep the original estate documents in a secure location until today. The judge nodded. Bring them forward. Michael Evans stepped toward the witness table. He placed a locked metal case in front of everyone. He unlocked it. Inside lay the original will, still sealed, still untouched. The judge carefully examined the seal. It has never been opened. Mr. Harrison smiled. Exactly as Robert intended. Daniel closed his eyes. He knew. Everything was falling apart. Then the judge looked toward the attorney. Open the original will. Mr. Harrison slowly reached for the seal and said, What Robert wrote in this document will change this family's future forever. The courtroom was silent. No one dared to speak. Mr. Harrison carefully broke the wax seal. For over 20 years, that document had remained untouched. The judge leaned forward. Read it. Mr. Harrison nodded. This is the last will and testament of Robert Carter. He took a deep breath, then began. To my beloved children, if you're hearing this, I'm no longer there to guide you. I closed my eyes. Hearing Dad's words one last time was almost unbearable. Mr. Harrison continued. Daniel, I love you as deeply as I love Emily. Daniel looked up. Tears filled his eyes. Then came the next sentence. But love does not excuse dishonesty. The courtroom fell completely silent. Dad's words continued. The company shall never belong to one child alone. It will remain under the Carter family trust. Neither Daniel nor Emily may sell it without the other's written consent. Daniel slowly lowered his head. Everything he had planned was gone. Mr. Harrison turned another page. The family home will belong equally to both children. The savings, the investments, and every remaining asset will be divided equally, exactly as Dad had promised us throughout our lives. No favorites, no special treatment, only fairness. Then, Mr. Harrison stopped. There is one final page. The paper wasn't typed, it was handwritten. Dad had written it himself. Mr. Harrison began reading. If Daniel has tried to deceive his sister, I hope this moment teaches him something money never could. Daniel began crying, quietly, without trying to hide it. The letter continued. Emily, if your brother admits his mistakes, please don't spend your life hating him. Justice matters, but forgiveness is what truly sets people free. I couldn't stop crying, even in his final words. Dad wasn't protecting his money. He was trying to protect his family. The judge closed the file. He looked directly at Daniel. Mr. Carter, the forged document is invalid. The original estate plan is now legally recognized. He paused. The evidence concerning the altered will has been referred to the appropriate authorities for investigation. Daniel nodded. He didn't argue. He didn't complain. For the first time in years, he accepted responsibility. After the hearing, the courtroom slowly emptied. Daniel stood alone near the entrance. When I walked past him, he whispered, Emily, I stopped. I'm sorry. I spent years trying to win Dad's money and forgot to earn his respect. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then, I remembered Dad's last words. Forgiveness is what truly sets people free. I stepped forward and hugged my brother. He broke down crying. So did I. 6 months later, the Carter Construction Company was thriving again. Daniel had stepped away from leadership to rebuild trust. I joined the family trust as a board member. Together, we made decisions the way Dad always wanted. With honesty, not greed. Every year, the company funded scholarships for local students in Dad's name. Above the entrance hung a bronze plaque with his favorite words. Your greatest inheritance is not what you leave behind. It's the character you leave within the people you love. Every employee walked past those words. Every visitor read them. And every time I saw them, I smiled. Because my brother had thought he had won. But in the end, Dad's last words didn't just destroy his lies. They gave him a chance to become the son Dad had always hoped he would be.